Hey, folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. Hey there, Adrian.
Hey, Glenn, how you doing?
Good, good. I want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, thank you.
We're here to talk about Thin Lizzy today and Phil Lynott, and actually, we're going to focus in on one song, Don't Believe a Word. Now, this is a song that showed up first on the Johnny the Fox album in 1976. I just happen to have a copy of right here. Nifty cover. It also shows up on their very last record, their second live album, Life Live, which gets panned by a lot of people, but honestly, I like the record. It's not as good as Live and Dangerous, the first live album, but it is still pretty good. And I bought this thing back when Phil Lynott was still alive. So this came out in 1983, and it's survived many record purgings in my collection over the years, largely on the strength of the slow version of Don't Believe a Word. So the story is that he came in with that song to the Johnny the Fox recording sessions, and Brian Robertson didn't like it. I think he thought this doesn't work for the band. It's shite is what one person said. Yeah, so Lynott wasn't too pleased with that, and apparently just didn't show up for a little while. In the meantime, Brian Robertson and Downey on guitar and drums went ahead and made it a faster song. They took the song and they just rocked it up and turned it into a 2-minute song, and it actually became a hit.
Don't believe me if I tell you.
That's all well and good, but looking back, now they can kind of point to that moment as the moment that Brian Robertson kind of started wearing out his welcome in the band, where, from that point on, they started to have more creative differences. And he finished the album. He was drinking a lot after Boys Are Back in Town became a big hit. He was having a hard time adjusting to the star life, I guess, or in the spotlight. He broke his hand after getting into a fight at a bar, and so Gary Moore had to replace him for the 77 tour. So then he stayed until after Bad Reputation, but he only showed up on 3 songs or something, and his foot was basically out the door. Now, Brian Robertson is of special interest to us because he went on in a few years to Motorhead to take over for
Fast Eddie Clark.
Yeah, that's kind of the story behind the band. And it was when we get to this album in 1983, he's back to the slow version, and he says this is the original arrangement of this song.
Don't believe me if I tell you.
So I think even right to the end, it was very powerful to him. The song is written by Phil, and to me, it seems like kind of one of those autobiographical songs that he would write once in a while about himself. He's got a number of songs where he's kind of the guy that's just dropping the ball. And, you shouldn't pay attention to him, or he's not worth this or that. It really meant a lot to him coming in as the ballad, and he wasn't super happy. He likes the faster version, but clearly still likes the slower one. Now, Gary Moore, he was a guy that had been in Skid Row, the 60s and 70s band, with Phil. Back when Gary was 16 when he entered that band in 1969. And Phil was just the singer. He was the lead singer. And that started in 1967. Eventually, he got dropped because the guy running the band decided that he just wasn't a very good singer. That's according to him and according to what he said on the documentary, which actually just came out on DVD recently, Songs for While I'm Away. And it includes the Sydney concert from 1978. About half of it is really sharp and good, and the other half wasn't made ready for TV, so it's a little less snazzy, but you can still see what's going on. So I definitely recommend that. The documentary went into Phil's general loneliness in life. He never had a father figure. He ended up growing up in Dublin with his grandparents. His mother was in England for much of that, and even though she was in constant touch, she wasn't actually there for most of his upbringing. And to top all that off, it's the 1950s, and he's black, and he's in Ireland, and Ireland doesn't have any black people. So it was kind of rough for him, and he found he had to fight once in a while, to kind of keep his cred up at school. But he loved Dublin, and he was very much an Irishman, and a proud one. he would correct you if you said that he was from England. It's under that context that this song came to be after a very successful Jailbreak album. This was one of the songs for the next album. Gary Moore, like I said, after this album came out, he said he liked this and decided he wanted to record it on his own solo album, Back in the Streets, from 1978. And he does the slow version. But he also has Phil on and Scott Gorham as well on guitar, who is the other guitar player in Thin Lizzy. But I've always really liked the song. I was pleasantly surprised when I finally started listening to more than just this album. It took me a little time to start delving deep. It's clear that he's got a much more emotional attachment to the slower version, you know.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. That's what he wrote. It was really how the song was supposed to go.
Yeah, it almost feels like the fast version is just what happens when you've got young guys who are insecure, you know, perhaps. Because I don't know that this was a problem with actual repertoire of the band, like, oh no, we can't play a ballad. And I base that on the fact that the song before it on here is called Borderline, and that, my friends, is a ballad by both Phil and Brian Robertson, for that matter. It's kind of along the same lines as, I mean, from the mellow vibe, as the slow version of Don't Believe a Word. So I'm not sure what happened there.
I'm trying to think what my impressions are, you know, based on the lyrics alone, because, you know, first I listened to the song a couple of times and I got the lyrics. You know, I felt like I understood it more. You know, it's very, at the very least, it's cleverly written. You know, I can kind of see irony, I guess, that's in the lyrics. One of my first questions when I first heard it is, are we supposed to believe him or not? You know, some of it kind of sounds like, oh, you know, I'm kind of a dirtbag. I act like this or whatever, you know. But, you know, I think there's kind of maybe a half-hearted warning. Kind of makes you wonder, I have to say, you know, about what the true meaning of the song is. And
there's some introspection in this thing.
Yeah. That was one of the words I was looking for, actually, some kind of introspection.
There are things he knows about himself. He may also just have a serious problem with his own insecurities, you know, whether he's insecure or whether he recognizes something that's real. Maybe a little of both, you know, or a tendency. Because, you know, by all accounts, he was one of the sweetest guys you could ever come across. Charismatic, gentle, thoughtful, intelligent, charitable guy, loaded with talent. Just a guy who would, you know, give you the shirt off his back or stop everything to do a favor for you, you know.
You know, I can't say whether he meant it was about himself or not, but I mean, it was, you know, it was written with irony, I guess.
I was kind of getting the vibe of Robin Williams.
Oh.
Like there's a darkness in this guy. You know, he looks out for other people because he knows what the darkness feels like. It feels like this is one of those things where he's kind of tormenting himself. That's kind of that was my impression. So if anybody out there has other ideas about what this song means, by all means, share them with us down below. And if you're so inclined, you could subscribe to us and perhaps give this video a like.
Please comment.
Yeah, we always like the comments.
Like comments.
All right, folks, happy St. Patrick's Day, and keep your eyes open in front of you at all times. Believe me, you'll thank me later. Take care, folks.
See you later, guys.